Good evening. Good, bounce back win for our group after a disappointing trip to Nassau. We talked about, how your response is greater than the result. We put that, we had to put it to test because, we didn't perform as good as we wanted to in Nassau, and that was completely my fault, 100% on me. Not the guys. We talked about that yesterday and flushed it out. Had a great couple of practices, and I was really pleased of the way they responded, and kind of helped having Bryce Hopkins back. So that was fun and good to see Hop back on the court at home. So proud of our guys for finding a way against a really good BYU team. Good on both sides of the ball, rebounding, and some things we got to clean up. Rebounding and fouling to be particular.
Questions for the senior? Bryce, describe your night, how you felt getting back on the court.
It was amazing. Just being able to run back out there and run up and down my favorite court, one of my favorite fans, it was just, very welcoming, and it was long awaited. It was a long process I was going through, a lot of long days, long nights, just sitting in my room trying to, build my leg back up, build the strength back up to get back to this point tonight. And it was nothing less than I expected.
What did you think of the reception when you were first introduced tonight?
It was amazing. I was a little emotional, honestly, at the beginning of the game, but I had to stay strong. But it was very welcoming.
And then when you came off, I saw you had a big smile on your face. Pleased with your first performance?
For sure. Just very relieved to just be back out there running up and down the court. I wasn't really focused on my performance. I was really just trying to, go back out there, get a feel for the game again, and, I was just happy just running up and down there with my teammates and, being involved in the team.
Bryce, what was the difference to get back in the lineup today? And when did you make that call?
I feel like it was just a long process. I just didn't want to rush back. Coach Kim was very, patient. There you go. That's right. Patient with my process, and he wasn't trying to rush me back. He wanted me to come back at the right time, and I just thank him for that. And just him being along my side, encouraging me through this process, it was very helpful, and I'm glad to be back out there and do what I did tonight.
Bryce, I'm sure you pictured the night, the moment, the introduction, the playing. Was it what you imagined?
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't really focused on my performance. I know I was probably going to be a little rusty, a little tired, not being on the court for about 11 months. Over time that's going to come, and, I just have to take it one step at a time, one game at a time, one possession at a time. So just being back out there, being able to run up and down the court with my teammates was the biggest focus of me tonight.
Bryce, your first basket, I think you drove and you finished with your left. Just how big of a sigh of relief was that for you to have that kind of explosion there?
I mean, it felt good. I didn't have any pain, just being able to make my moves that I was making last year. It was a big relief, and I feel like it broke the ice. And, once I made that first basket, I feel like I settled in pretty much and, just let the rest of the game come to me.
You finished with 4 assists. I think all of them were on 3-pointers, including one to Jabri. Just, your ability to find the open man. Is that something that maybe helped you with all the practices you maybe had under your belt?
For sure. Main focus for me was not trying to do too much when I came back. So, getting my teammates the ball was a main focus of me and what I was, practicing in practice. And, a big thing that Coach Kim was looking for when he brought guys in was a lot of shooting. And, having Jabri, Rich, and our other 3-point shooters, it's helpful, passing the ball 40% shooters. Getting great looks, it helps.
Jabri, did this kind of feel like opening night all over again a little bit, having Bryce out there?
Yeah, it's great having him out there. It was kind of my first experience of the amp at full capacity, or it seemed like it was full capacity. So that was amazing. That was the best home environment I've ever played in. So it was great. It was a great experience, and it was great to see him out there. I know how hard he worked. I've seen it every day. So just to see him out there running up the court and playing really well, it was great to see. So I'm happy for him.
Was spacing better, Jabri?
Yeah. Well, I feel like I got wide open looks because they worried about Bryce. So I like playing with him a lot.
Bryce, during your recovery, was there ever a moment where you doubted that this moment tonight would come?
That I thought that this moment would come?
No.
Or would not come? I always knew that it was going to come. It was just a matter of fact of when it was going to be. I didn't know. days are different than others. I mean, some days I feel really good, some days I feel some pain. So, there's no real, blueprint on when I was exactly going to be back. So it was pretty much just taking it a day at a time and, going through the practices live and, just trying to get to a point where I feel, capable of going out there and performing with my team to the highest ability.
Bryce, we talked about spacing, but, a couple times last year we saw, when Josh wasn't out there, you would play the 5. How much maybe that experience helps this group, and like you said, with all the shooters around, you really can't key on one guy.
For sure. I think it helps a lot. I mean, especially on the offensive end, I feel like it creates a mismatch if I'm playing a 5. If there's a slower defender, I can attack and create for others. But, I did get experience last year when J.O. came out the game. I think I slid to the 5 a little bit. I played some 5 tonight. So I feel like just being versatile and, being able to, switch onto a 5 is good for us defensive-wise.
Bryce, what did this journey teach you about yourself from last year to now?
I feel like I felt very resilient through this process. There were a lot of long nights, like I had stated, where there were some times where I was doubting myself on if I could get back to the player I used to be. But I feel like just staying present and, taking one day at a time through my rehab process, that gave me hope. And, each week, each month, I was starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and, it got better each week, each month.
Who's that person or people that helped you the most through this journey?
My teammates, my coach, Kim, the whole coaching staff, my parents were there by my side. They're out here in Providence, so having them here, it took a lot off of my mental, and I was able to, express to them how I was feeling going through this process when I was emotional. Whatever it may be, they were by my side, and, just having a coaching staff that was by my side, that was there to support me through a low time in my life, was very helpful.
Jabri, Kim mentioned a couple good practices leading into this one. What was the build-up like, burying the Bahamas and coming in tonight with maybe a little bit of a clean slate?
We just talked about flushing it. It's over, and we felt good coming home, and we knew we had a really good opponent, and you want to bounce back after some tough losses. So I thought we did a good job of that. That was our focus in practice, and we came out and executed exactly what we wanted to, except on the offensive glass. Defensive glass.
Bryce, obviously, first game out the way. Next game might be the biggest game for Islanders. Thoughts early on, your second game being your IPC?
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I feel like this game was my, getting my feet wet and, feeling the game again. But I know what to expect. I played them 2 years. This would be my 3rd year playing them, so I know what to expect. I know what type of environment we're going into this weekend. Being my first year we played there, so I know it's going to be a dogfight. I know we want to win, and I know they want to win too, so it's going to be the tougher team that's going to, win the game.
Bryce, you said it was just getting your feet wet, but you still get 16 points, 25 minutes. How much did you feel like you contributed to winning?
I think I contributed in whatever that case may be. It wasn't a thought in my mind to, come out and just score. I talked to a coach before the game, and he was just telling me to let the game come to me. Shots are going to come to you, just letting the game come to you. But a main focus of mine wasn't trying to force anything and just, play off my teammates and whatever's there, just take it.
Jabri, was there a different energy knowing Bryce was going to play today?
Yep. We felt better. Yep.
One more question for the players. Thank you. Questions for Coach English?
Kim, when did you know that you would have had Bryce? When did you know that you were going to have Bryce?
Sunday after practice. He felt good. He wanted to know what we were going to do Monday. We told him we'd get up and down, and but Sunday night he told me he was good.
Could you tell in the locker room that you had a different feel?
Yeah, it was good. It was. I told the guys on Sunday before practice, I'm no stranger to multi-team event losses. In my head coaching career, I'm 1-10. I lost 3 games my first year at George Mason in South Dakota, to Washington, Nevada, and South Dakota State. Second year, we lost to Boston College, Belmont, and Buffalo. Last year, we lost to K-State, and this year we lost to Oklahoma, Davidson, and Indiana. And so I actually did some really, I went back and watched the games, and I read the post-game write-ups, and I really was asking myself, why are we this bad in these early season MTEs? And when we lose, it's really heavy. It's really heavy. And I'm heavy. And it's some yuck in our program when we lose. But usually we get to flush that out with practices, and everyone feels better going in. But in those MTs, you don't have it. And I don't know if this is an NCAA violation or not, but in those situations, the locker rooms are really thin. So while our guys were warming up, I actually got to listen to Mark Few give his post-game speech to their team after they lost to West Virginia. And he was so positive. He was so positive. He was like, guys are going to be in 38 more of these games. And he said, this game's on me. He was like, now tomorrow's on you. Get off your feet, hydrate, and be ready to give Indiana your best shot tomorrow. And I was like, wow. And then we lost to Oklahoma. And I actually gave the exact same post-game speech. Like I just stole Mark Few's post-game. And the mood was good. And then I got up to my room and I watched film, and I lost my mind, and I was just sick. And we had like a 3-hour film session the next day before we prepared for Davidson. And that's why guys were missing layups. That's why our defense wasn't good. They weren't right, because I put a lot on them. And next season we got Florida, Kansas, and Wisconsin in an MTE. So I'll see if we can get better, next November.
So you're not going to not go like Coach Early?
Say it again?
You're not going to skip the MTEs like Coach?
No, we have a 2-game one next year, and then another good one in 26. Yeah.
Would you say you're a fan of these tournaments this early in the season?
No, I mean, there's a champion, but I mean, they don't, there's so much season left. This isn't college football. Arizona and Purdue, and I think 2018 played in the 7th place game in the battle for Atlantis. Arizona went on to win the Pac-12. Purdue went on to go to the Sweet 16. It's those tournaments are good, but it's not the end-all, be-all of your season. There's a lot of basketball left.
Do you remind yourself of that when you are watching film, going crazy, that there's still a lot of basketball to be played?
That's obvious, that we do. I know we do. It's a long season. We just got to get better. The focus is on getting better every day.
What does the practice look like that first day back when you had the chance to, soak in?
Well, I told the guys. I told the guys that I took blame for the Bahamas. It was on me, 100%, not them. Aside the fact we didn't have our best player, but we just got better. We worked on our free throws. We worked on our passing. We worked on our post defense. And yesterday we got to hook it up.
How much of a difference did Bryce make for you today?
It was great. I mean, we built a team around him, and our team kind of makes more sense with him out there. When we can get a really good 4 or 5 shooter lineup out there, he makes the right decisions. Spraying, he was plus 29 today when he was on the floor. Our team makes more sense,
You said he was going to be on a minutes restriction, 26, right about the right number?
25, 34. It's about 5 minutes, 34 more than we wanted. But, Kevin Kerbeck was in charge of the minutes tonight.
I mean, he didn't look winded or, lagging in any.
No, it was great. I checked with him and Chris Hageman, and those guys get a ton of credit. Chris Hageman, his surgeon in Chicago, his PTs, the team around him that work with him every day to get him to full strength deserve a ton of credit. But I checked with him throughout, if he felt good from a win standpoint, if he felt good guarding their 2 5-men who were really good and strong and athletic. But he's strong. I was watching him. His numbers now, his flexion in his hamstring, his knees are stronger than they were when he was at full strength, last December. So he's strong. He's stronger than he was.
He's made it through a game night, but, obviously the next day and the day after that, will be equally important? Just how closely will you watch him?
Always. We'll visit now. We'll put a plan together. We'll watch him. We'll test him. We'll monitor his reps in practice and keep getting him back to full strength.
What about the timeliness of his assist tonight? I think they crept within 4.
Oh, maybe you got it, sir. I don't know. You're always right. Every time I correct you on point differential, I go back and you're right.
4 in the first half.
Okay, 7 in the second half. Sorry, go ahead. Was it Rich's 3?
Rich's 3, and then he had another 3 after that. Just, the timeliness of the assists, just how big were they?
Yeah, we talked to him about just making the right play. He's going to see a crowd because he is a load getting to the rim, and it's just the freedom to make those plays. That's what Devin did last season. I think it really elevated his stature and his stock and everything. When you see a crowd just make the right play, and he did it. And we had some good lineups out there, today.
Did you like him at the 5? Is that maybe?
Yeah, there's been a lot of games this season we've said it. Davidson would have been a game good for him to be at a 5. Our 5s are learning. Kreese is learning. I think Kreese had one of his best games as a Friar today. And his 6th or 7th straight game with low turnovers, which is great growth from him and his commitment to us. Oswin was, struggling early, but, Bryce can do it, and he has a mindset that he doesn't care what position he'll play.
I think Oswin committed a foul with like 0.1 on the clock, but Bryce went up to him, leadership. Just how big is that for him to kind of be out there and be that voice of like?
Yeah, maybe it was the one at the end. I called a timeout at 33. I shouldn't have. I should have let the clock go to kill the 2-for-1. We call it a killer. I kind of lost sight of the clock and wanted to get a play in, but yeah, he's been a great leader. He's been a great leader. He's been a great leader since halfway through last season. We changed the way we sit on the bench tonight. As I was watching film from the Bahamas, coaches are all up top, and then it's just a bunch of players. And one of our guys checked out and had a really emotional moment. And I was watching on film. The kid was by himself to his own thoughts and whatever Bryce was telling him at the end of the bench. And I know Bryce was telling him good stuff, but I want to make sure our bench is more engaged.
And you said with Bryce that it was a patient process. You had to be patient with the process. Take us back to how challenging that may have been.
Yeah, it was, he wanted to play. I was wanted to make sure it was right. Everything was right. Our surroundings. I'm happy he didn't play in the Bahamas. I'm happy he wasn't a part of that cloud that I put over the team. I'm happy he didn't have to go through that because he might have had a bad game. Who knows? So it's on God's timing. It ain't on nobody else's. And if anyone thinks we're listening to anyone outside of what our program has to do for our players, you've lost your mind. And I don't forget basketball. Rushing a kid back, we ain't doing that. It's for the longevity of his career, his life is more important than a college basketball game.
Saturday, a game for the fans, and now the way they've started and the way you guys have gotten it tonight, a very meaningful game for.
Always a meaningful game, but they're doing it. Archie's doing a hell of a job. Their transition offense is potent. Sebastian is back home and he's playing his butt off. Archie's built that thing. He's built it the right way. They've gone through a lot of adversity together, and now that you can tell they've been through some stuff. The bigs are playing well. Their transition is incredible. Sebastian is passing that thing. They're a really good team.
You've never coached at the Ryan Center?
I have.
You have, GW, that's right.
GMU. Watch your mouth, Kevin. GMU. But,
it wasn't full. It probably.
No, it will be more fans than it was when the Patriots rolled in there on Saturday a few years ago.
Does that excite you?
Yeah, it's a great venue. I remember watching the Providence URI game on Saturdays when I was at other places, Tennessee or George Mason. And no, it's great. We have quotes from all our former players around the facility the week of this game, talking about their history. Corey Floyd and Kim McDonald have a interesting history past with this game. But we're excited to play a really, really good team.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.